I've had to come outside to tell this story. So the sound quality may not be that good, but it's definitely a story that's worth telling. It's funny once you've been involved with some cluster bees, how easily, you can kind of spot the behavioural patterns. I live in a shared flat with 4 bedrooms, and a few other people live there. Recently, probably about 2 months ago, we had a girl move in, and she's a hairdresser, early 20s, relatively attractive, not too bad. Would come across as being very, very friendly, outgoing, very nice, warm. Seems like a perfectly nice girl. So she's had this boyfriend of hers for 2 years, and they broke up after just coming up to 1 year, I think it was. And she sort of started up seeing another guy, but her original boyfriend, he decided that he wanted her back. So she got back with him, but carried on sleeping with guy number 2 for a period of about a month or so. So she had them both on the go. Red flag number 1. And, I'm one of those people, I've always been one of those people that girls come and talk to. And, usually in the past I would kind of swallow all their bullshit, and sort of just dole out sympathy and attention. In this case, it was quite different. I recognised where this one was going pretty quick after everything I've been through myself. And, I live in the same flat with her, and so, you're gonna have conversations. And, I guess, I'm just someone that they find easy to talk to. So, the longer that I'm talking to her and that, it turns out that she's a pretty chronic cheater, and she's basically, what's happened is she's got back with this guy, but she didn't really want to be with him. So she's had him for the last year as kind of, I guess, just like a safety, I don't really want to say a backup, but like a sort of safety precaution. And in that time, she's cheated on him with about 7 or 8 different guys. Anyway, so about a week ago, she had this guy who she'd met on Facebook, and he's come over to the flat. And originally she was supposed to be going to stay the night at her boyfriend's house, but she ended up texting this guy, and I guess she wasn't paying too much attention to what he was saying because he turned up at the flat. So she's called her boyfriend, made an excuse to get out of that, taken the guy in the bedroom, slept with him. He stayed the night. She's woke up in the morning, and she's laughing because she's got love bites on her neck. Don't really know the colloquial term for those. I grew out of them myself when I was about 15 years old, but there you go. And I'm like, oh yeah, same old story, but oh well, it's not my place to say anything, whatever. And anyway, a couple of days later, she comes home, pulls up in her car, and she's crying her eyes out. And I just kind of ignored it, but after a while it was like, okay, what's going on then? And she'd bumped into her boyfriend's sister at the shopping mall, and his sister had spotted, you know, the marks on her neck and made a comment. And she's like, she's going to tell him. And she's broke down crying. And, you know, she's kind of gone into the whole sort of sob story about how she's, you know, she doesn't want to hurt him, and she's just with him because she's scared of, like, that he'll be really upset if she leaves him. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm just like, bullshit. You're just using the guy. And, you know, she breaks down crying. She doesn't deny any of this. And I went in pretty hard, you know, which is a year ago, not the way I would have handled this situation. A year ago, you know, I would have listened and I would have given it, oh, you're not a bad person. She is a bad person. The behaviour is horrendous. But regardless, so she's like, you know, what should I do? What should I do? And I'm like, oh, I don't even want to, you know, but she's saying, no, what do I do? What's the right thing to do? And I said, well, the right thing to do would be to admit what you've done, break up, leave the guy, and let him move on. And maybe the next guy that you meet, you don't just jump into a relationship with him. Maybe you make sure it's someone that you actually want to be with, and, you know, you try and honour your relationship this time. And, you know, this is a girl who has told me that in the past she was medicated for depression, this and that, you know. And as I say, right now, you know, you look at her as a girl that's got it together. The reality is very different. Whether or not she's got a personality disorder, I don't really care in this case. I'm not enmeshed enough to really care, but certainly the pattern of behaviour is incredibly destructive, and it causes a lot of core shame that's buried under the surface. So to me, you know, I certainly would suggest that there's something wrong there. You know, she talks about having a very bad childhood, etc., etc. So we could be looking at some sort of borderline here. There are different flavours. This one would probably fall under the category of the siren, I would imagine. You know, perhaps, but let's not slap a diagnosis on everyone. Let's just look at it for what it is, and it's someone who's definitely got issues. Anyway, to carry on the story, so she's like, yeah, no, you're right, I'm going to tell him, I'm going to do the right thing. And I'm just sitting there thinking, no, you're not. But, you know, whatever. So about an hour later, I walked past her bedroom and she sat on the floor playing with her makeup, trying to cover it up. So I'm like, oh, yeah, here we go. And somehow she got away with it. Really don't know how, but, you know, it was like she's got away with it. The guy that she was cheating on him with, had fallen for her. And she's told me in the past that she likes the feeling of having guys wanting her. And so she's like, you know, I do whatever it takes to make them want me. And then, you know, I just have them chase me, and that makes me feel good. Quality human being, eh? But so, you know, this guy's talking about leaving his girlfriend to get with her, and I'm just sitting there like, oh, buddy, you know, whatever. And anyway, so she gets away with it for a few days. Well, the other day she comes home and she's crying again. And, you know, it turns out that the sister had said something, and as a result, you know, he'd obviously said something to her, and so she had dumped him. Which, to me, you know, another indicator of potential borderline abandonment fear. He might leave me because of this, so let's dump him before he can leave me, kind of thing. So she's upset about that for a couple of hours, and then she's over it, and she's back to texting, you know, whoever knows how many guys that are on the roster. And this guy, you know, he's devastated. And he's apparently in a hell of a state. And she's, you know, drinking with her friend and texting new guys, has moved on just like that. 2 years relationship and however many years friendship before that. She's gone. Well, today, I could scarcely believe my ears. She called him up because she was broke and wanted to borrow some money so that she could go out and celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And he agreed to lend her some money. I heard that and, man, I mean, all I can say is that I'm glad that I learned. And, I had to learn the hard way. But I did it and I learned my lesson. It's hard to quantify that people can be like that. But believe me, we're living in a world of sharks. And, yeah. So it's unbelievable. So she's borrowed that money. She's going to go out on the town. Probably, meet some new fella. And likely take him home for the night. And the old ex-boyfriend, meanwhile, is laying at home depressed out of his mind, going crazy, missing her. And he's probably lent her that money, thinking that it's a way to get in her good books and that maybe she might come back when, the reality is she might come back, but that would be the worst thing in the world for that guy. She'll come back if she can't line someone up pretty quick, because she's told me before that she doesn't like being on her own. But, my word, I mean, thank God that I cured my codependency, because, I'm living with someone who, for the old me, would have been the perfect predator to take me down. I mean, she would have got me, no doubt about it, and I'm just glad I know. But that's my little story for the day. Take from it what you will. This is the world we're living in.